Welcome back, artistic ladies and gentlemen, to another episode in this PTCGO series. I am back from my stay abroad and I had a really great time. I kinda turned myself into a tomato because I climbed a mountain without putting on sun cream and it was a really sunny day. So if you want to turn yourself into a tomato, that's how you do it. But anyways, I'm ready to record some fresh new content for you, and I'm going to be spoiling you today with a two-part episode for this Friday. The first part is going to be a Fan Friday part, and the second part a Fun Friday part. If you want to skip to certain parts of this first part, use the timestamps on the left hand side of the screen or click the timestamps in the description. Fan Friday is all about showcasing lists from you, ladies and gentlemen, from the viewers, and we shall dive right into the list that was sent to me by Inki Cho. Inki Cho is someone who very frequently comments on my videos and asked me to build my own deck around Glalie EX, which I will show you in the second part, but also send in a list of his own, and that is what we are going to be taking a look at right here. Mega Glalie EX is a 220 hit points mega Pokemon with the Cryo Mouth attack, hits for 100 as the base and 150 more as long as Mega Glalie EX has 10 or more damage counters on it. Does take a DCE and a Water Energy, so 2 attachments at the very least. 10 damage counters is the equivalent of 100 damage, meaning that we are only hitting for the full 250 when Mega Glalie EX has 120 hit points or less, making it quite vulnerable for the KO by our opponent. 1 copy of Mega Glalie EX in Inki Cho's decklist and 3 copies of Glalie EX with the Ice Breath to paralyze our opponent, takes a Water Energy, and the Instant Freeze, same attack cost as the Mega, hits for 50 plus 100 more damage as long as we have the same number of cards in our hand as our opponent. Slap on a Muscle Band, that's 170, that is enough to knock out most EXs in the format, and that's why Inki Cho runs 2 Muscle Bands, I believe. 2 copies of the Muscle Band, 1 copy of the Glalie Spirit Link, so that we can evolve into the Mega Glalie at some point. I believe Inki Cho's strategy is to attack with Glalie EX, and as soon as Glalie gets close to the knockouts, try to Mega Evolve it into Mega Glalie EX and hit for the Cryo Mouth for a ton of damage. Inki Cho has decided to run 9 basic Water Energy, which we do need for our attacks for the Instant Freeze and the Cryo Mouth, as well as those DCEs, 3 DCEs, and then 1 copy of the Splash Energy, a special energy which allows us to return the Pokemon to our hands that this energy is attached to when that Pokemon is knocked out. That can be quite useful, and Inki Cho also runs quite a bit of support Pokemon. I guess that's what you could call them. Let's start off with the Octillery, which most of you will be quite familiar with. The Abyssal Hand allows us to draw up to 5 cards in our hand, so Octillery is a draw support Pokemon, and Shaymin is going to help us with draw support as well. Shaymin for the early game draw support, Octillery for the late game draw support and the mid game draw support. 2-2 line of Remoraid Octillery, then 1 copy of Manaphy-EX with Aqua Tube, which gives our Pokemon that have Water Energy attached to them free retreat. And that is going to be very useful to switch between Glalies because they do have a 3 retreat cost, as well as the Mega Glalies. For example, we could switch a Glalie in the active spot that is damaged onto a Glalie on our bench, and then heal up the damaged Glalie on our bench with the Rough Seas. 3 copies of Rough Seas in this deck. Finally, also 1 copy of Regice with the infamous Resistance Blizzard attack. Hits for 70 damage and prevents all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. So great counter against EX decks. With the Muscle Man, that's hitting for 90, that's a 2-hit knockout on most EXs. Then let's have a look at these supporter cards. Quite an interesting mixture of supporter cards in this deck, I would say. 3 copies of the classic Sycamore, the best draw supporter in the current format, I would say. But also 3 copies of Judge is going to help us to get the same hand size as our opponent, so that we can hit for maximum amounts of damage with the Instant Freeze from the Glalie EX, as well as this Battle Reporter does basically the same. One difference is that it does not make our opponent reshuffle his hand. I kind of prefer Judge over Battle Reporter. Battle Reporter is a bit of a weak draw supporter. And then we also have the one Lysandre. Oops, that's not a Lysandre. Lysandre basically a staple in any deck. You need it. You need it to Lysandre out the Shaymins from your opponent and other easy targets to knock them out with the instant freeze, for example. One Pokemon Center Lady. I'm guessing this is going to be used to heal up our Glalie EX or Mega Glalie EX a little bit when we've used the Cryomouth and we don't want our opponent to knock it out in the next turn. Then also one copy of Fisherman could be used to fill up our hand size to our opponent's hand size by getting back energies from the discard pile if we don't have a Sycamore or something like that. Or it can just be used to get back those energies if we discarded plenty of them. We've also got a Professor's Letter to get energies into our hand and fill up our hand size that way. One Delinquent. I think you'll only want to use this Delinquent when you want to discard your opponent's stadium. You could use it to discard your own Rough Seas as well, but I think you want to prevent that unless you would bring your opponent's hand size down to 1 or 0. That could make it worth it for sure. For VS Seekers to get back all of our supporters. And then for Dive Balls, Dive Ball is going to be the main Pokemon search card in this deck. Because we run basically only water Pokemon except for the Shaymin. We can search out the Shaymin with this one copy of Ultra Ball, and this one copy of Ultra Ball can obviously also be used to search out any other Pokemon. For Trainers Mail to look for our supporters and to look for our other item cards. So basically a very good consistency card. Decks that have some free spots often fill them up with Trainers Mail to increase consistency. 2 Tool Scrappers. This can be used to, for example, discard a Floatstone to a Garbodor, but could also be used to discard our own Muscle Bands attached to a Glalie EX and then replace it with a Glalie Spirit Link that we have in our hand. And I believe that is it for the deck analysis already. We've got one Super Rod to shovel back some energies and some Pokemon into our deck. And also Skyla, I just noticed, I nearly forgot, Skyla could be used to search out the one copy of the Spirit Link in our deck. Could help us to search that out a little bit more consistently, as well as some other cards that we direly need, for example the Tool Scrapper. But that's it. I'm going to call it here for the deck analysis. Leave a like if you enjoy Inki Cho's deck list and if you enjoy the battles that I'm going to be having with this deck list. And subscribe to my channel for more Fan Friday deck videos and for more fun deck videos. And I'll see you in the battles. Our first opponent is Pasta QL with a Fighting, a Colorless and a Psychic deck. We are playing in the expanded format. I forgot to mention that in the deck analysis, but this is an expanded deck since Inki Cho's list contains a Tool Scrapper, and Tool Scrapper is a card, an expanded card, making this list an expanded list. We start off with a mulligan against Pasta QL, so we'll have to see if we can maybe find a Glalie in the next turn, or in our next draw, in our next hand. That's what I'm trying to say. Glalie EX with an energy, potentially a Muscle Band, that would be ideal, and some draw supporters. My opponent has a pretty nice deck box there with the Xerneas. I don't think he's playing Xerneas because he's playing Fighting. I think Fighting will be the main attacker in my opponent's deck. Psychic might be Hoopa, Colorless probably Shaymin. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see here what exactly it is that my opponent is playing. If he manages to find a basic Pokemon, which he just did, luckily enough, and he also benches another basic, we will try to look for a Glalie right now. We get a Remoraid and a terrible starting hand. This is wow. This is not all you want to see. So let's see, what are we facing with our poor little Remoraid? Can Remoraid take the win here for us? I guess not. So we'll have to really try to find a Glalie. If we get an Octillery, you could try to draw with Octillery, but we already have plenty of cards in our hands. So Octillery would not be very useful. Yeah, we just have to hope for a top deck. It is Waltz, so actually my opponent will be attacking with Psychic type Pokemon, and the Fighting type might be Support, something like that. Oh, we top deck a Judge, look at that. Might as well attach this energy to the Remoraid because we'll have to retreat it. and then I'm going to judge myself and my opponent. I'm not going to bench my stadium just yet. I'm thinking my opponent might play Dimension Valley. I want to counter that, and we draw into another hand that is not very useful. At least we have a VS Seeker for another judge. Can we get a... no, we cannot. I was looking for a dive ball. We cannot get a dive ball. So... yeah, we cannot do anything. We just have to end our turn. There's no Pokemon to switch with on our bench. In the next turn we'll have to go for another judge. Oh, there is a Gallade. So, oh wow, and even a Mewtwo. Lots of different types of Pokemon in my opponent's deck. This Gallade can hit for a ton of damage. 170 with the piercing prizes, as long as my opponent has 6 prize cards remaining. There is a Muscle Band. Does my opponent find the Kirlia? Kirlia is the evolution from ROS. I'm not exactly sure which Gallade we are going to see. We get hit for 40 from that ROS. Smacked in the face real hard there. Do I go for a judge or do I go for a battle reporter? I could draw up to 3 cards with the battle reporter. I'm going to go for the battle reporter. I'm going to burn this Spirit Link on the Remoraid. And then Battle Reporter for 4 cards. There is a Glalie. That is what I wanted to see. I will attach this Water Energy to the Glalie, and I'm going to try to paralyze this ROS. I believe that's what I should try to do here. Burn the energy on the Remoraid. Paralyze the ROS if we can with the Ice Breath. And no, we cannot. Our breath was not icy enough. The ROS withstood our ice cold breath. So now we will get hit for 40 again if my opponent does not retreat into anything else or does not find the Kirlia. Oh my goodness. Discards our energy straight away and spreads out the energy on his side of the field. A smack for 40. I would love to find a Rough Seas right now. I'm going to attach this another energy. That's 2 energies in discard pile already. Take a look at my Trainers Mail. We can get a Sycamore, which we already have in hand, and a Rough Seas. I'm going to go for that Rough Seas here. The Muscle Band was really tempting, because we could then one-hit KO the Gallade and the Mewtwo, but I want to heal off some damage here. We have a DCE for the next turn, and after that I will probably Sycamore. Yeah, I'm not going to Sycamore or Judge right now. Ice Breath once again. And this time it is heads. So we did manage to paralyze my opponent's ROS. Opponent is down to 37 cards. Has played 2 Team Flag runs. He discarded 1 with the Sycamore, I believe. And a Sycamore. Does he have another draw supporter? There's another Mewtwo. Wow. So many Pokemon here on my opponent's side of the field. And another Sycamore. Discarding another Team Flag Grunt, I believe. No, it was a Lysandre. Mew-EX, Espeon-EX. This is a whole bunch of Psychic Pokemon right there for my opponent. And slowly but surely this Gallade is getting powered up and can one-hit KO our Glalie actually. So I would love to Lysandre out that Gallade if I can and knock it out that way. Right now I'm going to get out another Glalie. Maybe the Mega Glalie. Let's go for the Mega Glalie actually. Do I want to do that? And Mega Evolve right here. That way my opponent cannot one-hit KO our Glalie in the active spot. And I think I will do that. I'm going to Mega Evolve the Glalie that we have into the Mega Glalie straight away. And that is going to be the end of our turn. My opponent is probably going to hit us for more than 100 damage, so we can go for the Cryomouth in return. And hopefully get ourselves in the game. That way we are definitely behind in attaching energies. There is the last energy for the Gallade, as I kind of expected. That's why I Mega Evolved. Because if we had knocked out his ROS, my opponent would have retreated and knocked us out in return, and we would have been left with nothing to respond with. Right now, however, we can respond with a knockout on my opponent's Gallade. While my opponent wasn't able to knock out our Glalie. We even get a Manaphy, I might as well put it down. And I think I'm going to go for a Judge. This is a tough call. Do I go for a Judge or a Battle Reporter or a Sycamore? No, I'm going to Sycamore. I'm going to discard this VS Seeker. We need to find some more Glalies. Attach some more energies, but we could not get any energies there, which is a bit unfortunate. I could actually go for a Octillery and try to find a Glalie that way, but I think Glalie is more important right now. So we'll bench another Glalie. I could go with the Regice for sure. Regice could help us out here to stall against Mewtwo EX, but then the Gallade could come out at some point. Let's take a look at the Trainers Mail. Can we get a Professor's Letter? We cannot, but we do get a Judge. I will get that Judge in hand. Maybe I should have gone for the Rough Seas if my opponent countered the Stadium. And then I think that's it. There's nothing else we really need to do. I could use a Tool Scrapper, remove that Muscle Band on the Rals. But for now we'll just hit for the knockout with the Cryomouth for 250 damage. Take the first 2 prizes of the game right here. What can my opponent do in response? Oh, another Judge and a Delinquent. Not really anything unless he finds a Dimension Valley and a Psychic Energy. Oh, but he's going to knock us out with the with the Lugia. The Lugia came in and wrecked us. Oh boy. So we might have to sacrifice. We might have to sacrifice the Remoraid while we power up the Glalie on our bench. We do get a Super Rod. Could definitely shuffle back the Mega Glalie, and I think I will shuffle back Mega Glalie and 2 energies. And then try to dig for those energies. Let's see. Might as well Tool Scrapper, get rid of that Muscle Band, as well as our Spirit Link. And then we'll probably have to go for a Sycamore. Discard all of those cards in our hands, because we really need those energies, and I want to guarantee at least 1 energy attachment. Sycamore gives us the highest guarantee on finding an energy. And there is 1 water energy, well actually 3, but 1 is all we needed. Well, a Muscle Band, that's what I was trying to say. We actually don't have another Remoraid, which is unfortunate. Might as well get out this Mega Glalie and Mega Evolve right here, right now. I think I will do that. And then I'll probably pause the turn. Yep, indeed, because I Mega Evolved. So my opponent could hit us for 40. That is not a knockout on his Remoraid. We might actually be able to retreat the Remoraid in the next turn and let my opponent have a hit at this Mega Glalie EX. So it powers up Mega Glalie's Cryomouth. And there is the Kirlia. Finally, my opponent managed to find that Kirlia. We're going pretty steady here, pretty back and forth between my opponents and... yeah, my opponent and me. My opponent and I. Is that how you say it? So we'll promote the Mega Glalie. Let my opponent have a stab at it. I'm probably going to bench the Shaymin while I try to dig for a DCE. I'm going to power up the Glalie on the bench. Take a look at the Trainers Mail. Sycamore or Ultra Ball. Let's go with Sycamore. Let's get that Sycamore in hand and then bench our Shaymin, draw into some more cards, bring ourselves down to 16 cards, if I'm not mistaken. 16 cards it is. Oh my goodness, so many energies. We have a VS Seeker for the next turn to go for a Judge. And then hopefully find a DC. I don't really want to discard all those energies. So yeah, we'll let my opponents attack the Mega Glalie. Or we could try to paralyze with the Glalie on the bench, but I'm going to leave the Mega Glalie in the active spot for now. Let my opponent have a stab at it. He's hitting for 100 right now, and that is just enough. Is he going to take the bait? There is the Gallade. Gallade with the powerful storm, does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your Pokemon. And he, 150, why is that? Oh, he went for the Deep Hurricane, that explains that. Deep Hurricane. Alright, so now we need to find our DCE. I might actually have to go with the Sycamore here. Guarantee the DCE drop. Yeah, I'm going to Sycamore. I'm going to guarantee the DCE drop and try to find another stadium. Which we do, so I can at least heal up a little bit. There is a DCE drop. And that leaves us with just 8 cards in our deck. 2 of them, or 1 of them, should be a VS Seeker. And there should be some more DCEs in there. I'm guessing at least 1 DCE is priced. So this is going to be a knockout with the Cryomouse. We hit for 270. What can my opponent respond with right now? Could respond with the Gallade. Hit for 80 with the Gallade. And that is just 20 short from knockout. With the Muscle Band, that would be a knockout. There's a DCE and a Muscle Band. Oh my goodness, did find a Muscle Band for the knockout. Are you kidding me? Just enough for the knockout. And my opponent is down to 1 prize. Wow, what a very, very tight game. Very clutch there from my opponent. We do not manage to find our DCE. So we will have to try to paralyze our opponents. Yeah, there's nothing else we can do. I'm going to Skyla for... I'm going to Skyla for a VS Seeker. And we can VS Seeker for a Judge in the next turn. Oh boy. So right now my opponent is hitting for 100. Yeah, I'm not gonna bench that Regice. Well, it doesn't really matter. My opponent could Lysandre Shaymin and knock it out by attaching another energy there. So we'll have to try to hit for the Ice Breath. I am going to bench the Regice, however. And I'm probably going to attach an energy to the Regice. So we have another attacker, so we can potentially switch between Glalie and Regice. And then we are hitting for the Ice Breath. And it's a Tails, no paralysis. We really needed the paralysis right here. Oh my goodness. Don't tell me we are going to lose this way. Please. Oh, this is such a close game. And my opponent starts powering up that Mewtwo-EX and Steven for an energy as well as supporter. We are definitely going to reshuffle my opponent's hand. We don't want to see an energy on that Mewtwo-EX in the next turn. He got a Birch, I believe. There is the energy. Yeah, reshuffling our opponent's hand is what we really need to do in the next turn. Powerful Storm for 120. We will heal up a little bit from that damage. And then we will Judge. And we really need to find... Oh, we really need to find a DCE. I'm gonna bench this Remoraid so we don't run into it. And have to cross our fingers right here. Otherwise we have to flip heads on the Ice Breath. We miss out on the DCE. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. We miss out on the DCE. Let's attach this to the Glalie. And let's get 2 energies in our hands. There is a DCE. And we shall hit for the Ice Breath. If we fail, it's going to be GG. And it is going to be GG right here. We lost the game in the end. Yeah, not sure if we would have been able to pull it off otherwise. It was a close game. I think we tried our best. It didn't work out for us. I'm a little bit sad now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit sad. Losing against my opponent's deck there. Maybe I shouldn't have evolved into the Mega Glalie. I don't know. Let me know if you think I should have done something differently there to try to pull off the win. We dealt 520 damage, my opponent dealt 920. I think we just had too slow of a start, really. While my opponent was setting up, we were set back. We had to wait 3 turns before we could do anything. So I think that's basically one of the biggest reasons why we eventually lost here. I think it might have been different if we managed to pull off an attack earlier on. Let's see if we can find ourselves another opponent. The last opponent is going to be Pidos with a fighting and a colorless deck. Most likely Garchomp. That's what I would imagine right here. Garchomp, there's Lucario, there's Zygarde, things like that. Haven't seen Zygarde in Expanded yet. Haven't played against Zygarde really since I've been away, so I haven't been playing on the PTCGO ever since Phase Collide was released. It looks like we both mulligans. We start off with another Remoraid start. Back-to-back Remoraid starts. Lovely, lovely. Might as well bench another one, because they might actually let the Remoraid in the active spot get knocked out. And another mulligan from my opponent. I'm thinking this might then be Garchomp. And another mulligan. So far no clue as to what my opponent is playing. We haven't seen any Pokemon, just trainers, energies, some item cards. Well, items are trainers, so yes, we shall definitely draw into 2 more cards. Oh, there is a Glalie, excellent stuff. Was hoping to draw into that. Oh, and it's a Medicham deck. Medicham. Alright, haven't seen Medicham in quite a while, but I love the deck. Maybe I should showcase it on my channel as well. Used to play quite a bit with Medicham. There's a fighting stadium, so my opponents will increase his damage against our Glalie. Oh, and a Lucario as well. Medicham Lucario. What an old school deck. The memories, they are coming back to me. I think my opponent might be discarding probably a Corina to get back with the VS Seeker. Maybe, I'm not sure what else. Could discard energies to get back with Landorus, but we haven't seen Landorus. Oh, alright. We did see Maxie's, shoulda known. Maxie's Machamp, yeah, alright. Then that makes perfect sense. And do we see anything else? He decided to power up the Meditite on the bench. We won't be knocking out his Meditite in the active spot, so that's okay. I'd rather see him power up that Meditite on the bench than the one in the active spot. We will attach an energy to our Glalie, and then we will take a look at our Trainers Mail. What do we have? A level ball. No, it's a dive ball. Let's get out another dive ball. 2 dive balls in our hands. I think I'm actually just gonna keep them. I'm not gonna do much of anything here, I believe. I'm gonna counter the stadium, that's one thing, and then in the next turn I'm gonna dive ball for an Octillery and probably maybe a Mega Glalie. I have to wait and see what my opponent can do, how well he sets up. Otherwise I'm just going to go for a Glalie EX. Mega Glalie is able to stay alive longer against Medicham. So that's an advantage of getting the Mega out. But ideally I would like to find a Spirit Link, don't want to waste my turn. There is the Medicham, it's hitting for 50 right now if my opponent finds another energy. 50 times 2 because of the Omega Barrage, that's 100 damage. With that stadium it would be 70 times 2, that's 140. And the strong energy would be 90 times 2, that's 180, that's a knockout. So that's why it's important for us to counter the stadium when we can. We don't want to see a Lysandre and then a sudden knockout on our Glalie. We want to at least make my opponent, or force my opponent to get a 2-hit knockout and not a 1-hit kill. There is a Giovanni, so another way for him to increase his damage output. But instead he used it to get some more cards and starts powering up the Lucario. He's going to leave the Meditite in the active spot, as he well should, because we are nowhere near knocking it out. We still have to retreat our Remoraid. What did he do there? Ultra Ball for Shaymin. Yes, Shaybay, as some call it, comes out to play. Drawing into 6 cards, pretty neat there. 6 cards. I would love to do that as well. For some reason the last one was a struggler. Was behind a bit, and there's another Meditite. I'd love to knock out that Shaymin. Such an easy target. Alright, we get another stadium. Let's go for that Octillery. Then we'll evolve the Remoraid on the bench. And then I'm probably going to go for actually another Glalie. We have the Mega Glalie, but I'm just going to go for maybe the Regice against the Lucario. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Regice instead for the Lucario, because the Lucario has a Fighting Fury belt. There's no way we would have been able to one-hit KO it anyways, since it's got 180 HP. And then we are going to judge. We need to dig for an energy here. We need an energy attachment. There's a Mega Glalie and a Shaymin, excellent stuff. We can actually attach and then Mega Evolve for sure. That's definitely a possibility. I'm going to bench the Shaymin first. It's a bit of a risk because it's an easy Lysandre target for my opponents. And no energy. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at our Trainers Mail. There is a Tool Scrapper or a Muscle Band. I'm going to go for the Muscle Band. And I'm going to put it on the Glalie, on the Regice, I mean. So we can 2-hit KO the Lucario if we need to. Then I'm going to evolve the Remoraid in the active spots. And try to look for a Manaphy, and that is what I want to get out. So we can retreat that Octillery. If it does not get knocked out before, we can retreat it. And then we shall Abyssal Hand for 2 more cards. Hopefully get that energy. Yes, there is an energy. Just a water energy, so I'm going to attach that to the Regice. There's another Muscle Band. Do I want to attach that Muscle Band? What if we draw into the Spirit Link? I will attach the Muscle Band. And then Abyssal Hand for 2 cards once again. I will attach it to the Glalie. I think I said I will attach it to the Muscle Band. I'm not sure what I said. Alright, this is it. This is time to Mega Evolve. We are still definitely a bit behind, because we still need to retreat that Octillery and find a DCE. So we need to attach once to the Octillery and then once to the Glalie before we can do anything really. Another energy on the Medicham. I hope my opponent brings out the Medicham, knocks out our Octillery, and then we will respond with our Mega Glalie EX. Knock out the Medicham. It's only got 90 hit points. We can easily knock it out with our Cryo Mouth. What was that? Was that a Muscle Band? Yes, it was. Tool Scrapper can definitely come in handy here. Get rid of those Muscle Bands. And a pass of the turn from my opponent. There is a Spirit Link. 1 turn too late. Oh well, 1 turn too late. Let's attach to the Octillery. And then I will put down the Spirit Link on the Manaphy and use the Abyssal Hands, draw into some more cards. If we cannot find what we want, yes we do actually, we do find the DCE. So I'm going to keep this hand and I'm going to leave the Octillery in the active spot for now. That is what I'm going to do. My opponent just needs an energy to retreat that Meditite, but he's only got 2 cards, so I hope he doesn't have it. We're going to pass the turn. This might have been a waste of an energy attachment on that Octillery, but if my opponent does not knock out the Meditite, at least we have that means of retreating our Octillery. And he discards our Muscle Bands. Wow. That's annoying. Those were our only Muscle Bands and we have no way of getting them back. There is the energy. So we will see the retreat into the Medicham. And he's going to knock out our Octillery in 2 hits, which is what we wanted. He's hitting for 70 right now. And then he needs to hit for another 70 to knock it out. And we will respond with our Glalie. There is a Lysandre. He's actually going to knock Lysandre out our Glalie, I think. Oh no, he's going for the Regice instead. Knocking out our Regice. He is more scared of the Regice than the Glalie. That's okay. Would have rather seen him knock out the Octillery. But we'll deal with it. We'll attach the DCE to the Mega Glalie. And then we shall Super Rod back that Regice. So we can get it out once more. And then I believe it's time for a judge. Maybe not, because my opponent only has one card. No, we won't judge. We'll just Abyssal Hand, as we have been doing so far. Abyssal for 1 or 2 cards. Let's take a look at that Trainer's Mail. We get another Rough Seas, a Tool Scrapper. I will get out that Tool Scrapper. You bet I will. I'm going to get rid of those Muscle Bands. As well as those, maybe that Fighting Fury Belt. Not really, maybe. The Fighting Fury Belt isn't the biggest threat to us. We'll just get rid of the Muscle Bands. Because we can probably 1-hit KO that Lucario if my opponent hits us with the Medicham. But he doesn't have another Medicham ready, so he'll probably hit us with the Lucario instead. I'm going to Abyssal Hands. And one more time, and there is a Professor's Letter. Excellent. Get some more energies in my hand. If only we had another Glalie. If only. But we don't. So we'll just hit for the knockout with the Cryo Mouth. We'll get hit for 30, 40, possibly actually 70 in the next turn if my opponent finds an energy. And he could draw into some more cards with the Corkscrew Smash then. But he promotes the Hawlucha instead. If he attaches a Focus Sash to that Hawlucha, we'll need to dig for another Tool Scrapper. I don't want to deal with the Focus Sash. It's probably going to hit us for 60 with the Hawlucha. I might try to heal up a little bit. Or not, he's going to attack with the Lucario. 470. A little bit sad that it's not more. Then we could have used the Cryo Mouth, but that's okay. We're going to heal up a little bit using our Rough Seas. Shouldn't be a... It shouldn't be a 2-hit knockout with that Lucario for my opponents. Definitely should not. Could hit for 100, 110, 120, 130 with a fighting energy if my opponent attaches fighting energy. 150 with the Stadium. 150 plus 40, that is not a KO. Our Rough Seas saves us there because if it was 70 damage, that would have been a KO. Could actually heal up with the Pokemon Center Lady as well. And I think I'll keep it for the next turn. What I want to do is I want to get out a Glalie, and we can with that Dive Ball. I'm going to get out another Glalie, start powering it up. Could go for the Regice once again, but this Lucario is going to go down. So Glalie it is. We'll attach a Water Energy, and we will just hit for the Cryo Mouth. Yes, let's hit for the Cryo Mouth. If my opponent attacks in the next turn, we will hit back for 250 damage. And then I'm not sure what my opponent is going to do to respond. We have more energies on the field than him. We have more Pokemon ready to go. He needs to find Medicham. He needs to find energies. Tools as well, because without the Muscle Band, the Medicham isn't really impressive. Doesn't really do too much damage then. Only 30, and 30 times 2 is 60, so we heal off 30 from that with our Rough Seas. That's only 30 total damage with that Medicham. If it doesn't find any tools or strong energies. There is a Medicham. How many strong energies does he use actually? Just the one, so he probably runs 3 more. We'll probably see some more pretty soon. He's down to 19 cards. We are down to 18 cards right now because he got out that Ultra Ball. He's putting down another Meditite. He is really going for it with his Medichams. There is the Medicham. Will we see an attachment to the Medicham? He could actually attach to the Medicham and bench a Shrine of Memories, then retreat into the Medicham and attack with the Medicham using Shrine of Memories, copying the smack from the oh wow, Zero-Sick from the Meditite. Our DC is going to get discarded, isn't it? In the next turn, because he already used the Corina. Yeah, I think he's planning on discarding our DCE. So I might actually keep this DCE in hand and just attach a Water Energy to our Glalie. There is a Strong Energy. We will get hit for 130 damage, which I will heal off 90 from with the Rough Seas and the Pokemon Center Lady. Maybe not 90. I'll just heal up with the Pokemon Center Lady instead. Because we don't want to go below 100. Then we cannot knock out this Lucario. So we'll heal up with the Pokemon Center Lady. And then we shall attach an energy to our Glalie EX. And hit for the knockout with the Cryomouth. We're bringing ourselves down to 3 prizes. Leaving my opponent with a tough situation to deal with. No energies on his side of the field. He needs a Shrine of Memories. Or he needs an energy for this Hawlucha. But this Hawlucha has no way of knocking us out. It could hit for 100 damage with the strong energy and in the stadium. 120 with the muscle band as well on top of that, but that's a lot of cards to get out here in one turn. And there is the attachment to the Medicham and the Zero-Sick as we were expecting. We have that DCE in our hands to counter that Zero-Sick, which will be another knockout on this Hawlucha. I'm going to heal up my Glalie bit by bit. I don't really need to keep it damaged because we can hit for the one-hit KOs just with the Cryomouth's base damage. So let's attach that DCE, heal up, and might as well Delinquent, get rid of some of my opponent's cards in his hands. We have a Rough Seas to counter in the next turn. Make it as tough on my opponent as we can. He's only got 1 VS Seeker left. He is running out of resources here. He should have some more Korinas. Discards an energy. Wow, an energy. Wow, 5 energies in the discard pile already. Yeah, that energy discard was pretty huge, I think. And then we shall hit for the Cryomouth for the knockout. I would love to get a Lysandre at some point and then go for the Shaymin. Maybe the next turn here. Find a Lysandre. Because we haven't seen any yet. It's probably somewhere still in our deck, but I don't really have a way of drawing into it. Our hand size is too big to use Octillery, and using the Judge to dig for a Lysandre is not very useful since we cannot use the Lysandre in the same turn then. Yeah, I believe this is, I'm going to say this is going to be game for us. We have 2 attackers ready. If my opponent knocks out this Mega Glalie EX, yeah, he says GG, he doesn't see any way out. I will say GG back, and there it is, there is the concede from my opponent. So, a pretty nice second game here to come back from the first game where we lost right at the end. I think those were 2 pretty good games showcasing Inki Cho's deck here. I went a lot more with the Mega Glalie than I kind of intended when I was, well, before the deck analysis, before recording. I kind of intended more to go with Glalie, but it just turned out that way that we could use the Mega Glalie EX and see its Cryomouth in action, even though there's only 1 copy of it in the deck. Anyways, I'm rambling. If you liked Inki Cho's list, leave a like for Inki Cho and subscribe to my channel for more Fan Fridays, for more lists from you guys, from you Karptastic ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you in part 2.
Karp, 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 Karp.